Not every ruler seeks to conquer the world. Some stand still long enough to stop it from destroying itself.
The queen, who watched the world burn in silence asterisk, she stood above them all. Not because the balcony was high, but because her heart had learned how to rise above noise. The grand hall beneath her breathed like a living thing. Thousands of voices blending into one restless murmur. Silk brushed against marble. Gold rang softly. Laughter hid behind practiced smiles. Promises were traded like coins, light and worthless, from her place at the railing. Queen Althrea of the moonbound throne watched them. She always watched. Her skin, the color of twilight before the first star appears, caught the glow of 1,000 chandeliers. The crown upon her head thin, spiked, and ancient rested lightly, though its weight was older than every soul in the room combined. A single braid of silver-white hair fell over her shoulder, woven the way queens of her bloodline had done for centuries. Not for beauty, for memory. Each twist represented a vow, each nod a sacrifice. The music swelled below. Althrea did not move. She remembered the last time this hall had been this full. It was the night before the war. She had been younger then, softer around the eyes, foolish enough to believe peace could be negotiated if spoken gently enough. They had worn the same smiles that night. Tooking's lords, envoys with polished tongues and hollow chests. They had bowed to her crown and ignored her warnings. By dawn, the eastern forests were ash. Althrea's fingers tightened slightly on the cold metal railing. The present pulled at her like a tide. Tonight was meant to be a celebration. 5 kingdoms gathered beneath one roof, honor in a treaty that promised unity, trade, and an end to bloodshed. The banners hanging from the pillars declared it boldly. Unity, prosperity, peace. Words were easy. Peace was not. A servant approached quietly, as if afraid sound itself might offend her. "My queen," he whispered, bone low. "They await your blessing." She did not look at him. "How many soldiers did the Sun Court bring?" she asked. The servant hesitated. 3,000, he said carefully, as an honor guard. Althrea almost smiled. 3,000 soldiers invited into a city that had no walls. The old kings would have missed that detail. She did not. "Tell them," she said at last, her voice calm and smooth as still water, "that I will speak when the moon reaches its highest point." The servant bowed again and retreated. Below, the music shifted brighter, louder, impatient. Althrea turned her gaze outward, past the chandeliers, past the arched windows, to the night sky beyond. The moon was rising. She remembered when the moon had chosen her. She had not wanted the crown. She had wanted to run through the forest with bare feet and laughter tangled in her hair. She had wanted to learn the old songs from her mother without worrying which verses were forbidden. She had wanted to love without calculation. Then her mother had died, poisoned, during a friendly visit. The crown had been placed upon Althrea's head before her tears had dried. That was the night she learned a truth no book ever teaches. A queen does not lose her innocence. She trades it. A ripple of applause rose suddenly from the hall. Althrea turned. At the center of the floor stood King Roderick of the Sun Court, tall, golden, and loud in every way she was not. He raised his goblet, smiling broadly, as if the future were already his. "Friends," he called, "allies. Tonight we stand at the dawn of a new era." Cheers answered him. Althrea studied his face. He believed what he was saying. That, more than anything, made him dangerous. She descended the stairs slowly, each step deliberate. The crowd parted instinctively as she moved through them, her dark armor catching the light. Gold filigree traced ancient symbols along her shoulders and chest wards against magic, betrayal, and fate itself. Her cloak flowed behind her like a shadow given form. The music died. The hall fell silent. When Althrea reached the center, she did not raise her voice. She never needed to. "An era does not begin," she said softly, "because we declare it so. Every year lean closer. It begins when we choose truth over comfort." King Roderick's smile faltered. Just a fraction. She turned slowly, her gaze sweeping the gathered rulers. "You have all come seeking peace," she continued. "Yet each of you brought blades into my city." A murmur rippled through the hall. "Some of you hide them behind banners, some behind promises, some behind soldiers stationed for honor." Her eyes returned to Roderick. "Honor does not require an army." Silence thickened. Althrea lifted her hand. From the shadows above, the moonlight shifted unnaturally, pouring through the glass ceiling and settling upon her palm. Ancient magic stirred, old as grief. Images bloomed in the air. Burning villages, broken treaties, Children standing alone among ruins. Gasps echoed. These, she said quietly, are the cost of lies we call diplomacy. King Roderick stepped forward, his voice sharp. Are you accusing us? I am reminding you, Althea interrupted. Not unkindly, that peace is not something you sign. She closed her fingers, and the visions vanished. It is something you protect. She stepped back. If you wish to stay in my city tonight, she said, your armies will leave before dawn. Your spies will follow. Your hidden knives will remain hidden or be surrendered. And if we refuse? Someone asked from the crowd. Althea met his gaze. Then you will learn, she said, why my people survived every war you started. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, one by one, goblets were lowered. Heads bowed. Later that night, when the hall had emptied and the moon stood alone above the city, Althea returned to her balcony. The world below was quiet. She allowed herself one breath, just one. Queens were not made of steel. They were made of endurance. She rested her hands on the railing again, eyes reflecting the stars. Tomorrow, the world would continue trying to burn itself down, as she would continue watching. Ready. Because some thrones are not meant to rule. They are meant to endure.